Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Backups Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Seb Burnett. And Tex is back this week, you guys. Tex, will you say hello to our listeners, please?
My mic is all warm and fuzzy. It's ready to be used again. What's up, man?
Anticipating the return. Hey, what's up, buddy? Man, I think we got a good show coming at you this week. We're going to be rolling through kind of a week 5 recap, some interesting stories, some good games, and of course some shitty games. And hey, what do you know? My Who Gives a Shit game of the week last week was definitely accurate. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the injuries that are going on in the NFL right now. Spoiler alerts, it's not actually quarterbacks that are in season this year. Not surprisingly, due to rule changes and shit. We're going to talk a little bit about UFC 229. I watched it. I'm a big UFC fan. I will talk about that a little bit. Some of my theoretical in this that's going to be happening. And yeah, so Tex.
What's up, man?
Let's do this shit!
Ready, set, hold on tight, folks. We're bringing in the Backups. It's the Backups Podcast with your hosts, Seb and Professor Tex. Let's do this thing.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. Oh, God. So, Tex, tell me, did you have fun at your wedding?
Yeah, I actually did. The only bad part was my groomsmen really just sucked. So, my next wedding, when I get remarried, I'm definitely gonna find some better friends to get married alongside.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Brantley was just fucking up the entire time. I was like, come on, Brantley, get it together.
Not only that, Everett is just the golden child, completely nice. Didn't do anything wrong. Didn't rip the Britney's dress apart or her veil, anything like that. So he was just a model child.
No, what was okay, I need you to walk me through your thought process when you saw him grab the veil and start to walk away. Like, what's going through your mind?
To be honest, I'm surprised this happened so quickly. We all anticipated him to do something, right? Like, we're realists. He's a monster. He's Dennis the Menace. But he's also adorable. So you can't get mad at him. I just wanted the preacher to chill for 1 second because he kept going. I'm like, dude, the kid is ripping her dress apart. Like, you're going to have to pause this 17-minute sermon so that I can get my 2-year-old monster who looks like a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old to chill out. But yeah, man, it was good. Good times. I've got a lot of wine left over because apparently beer was the hit of the night. So
yeah, even though you told them you wanted Orpheus and then you didn't get Orpheus. I was surprised. I was like,
yeah,
wow.
So that happened. Our photographer is a complete crapola. She's just horrible.
How'd the pictures come out?
Well, we don't even have the sneak peek yet. We were supposed to get that last Thursday, and then she said Friday, and then she said today. So I don't even know if she had a memory card in. I mean,
can you imagine that?
Oh, dude, Brittany,
no pictures.
I guarantee you, she would probably kill that woman. So I know for a fact she has the pictures. It's just the photographer has literally never kept her promise or her word on anything during this entire process. And I actually thought about it. No, there was nothing that she ever said that she's actually followed through on. Like, hey, I'll call you today at 5. That would have been a lie. You'll have your pictures tonight. That's a lie. I'll be there on time. That's a lie. It's just been a nightmare. But the wedding was fun. The cake was good. The company was amazing. We saw, we conquered, and now we're back to living our life.
Dude, that cake was amazing. It was
Wasn't it
so
good?
good. It was like, what the fuck? This cake is delicious.
Yeah, dude, I was about to be fat kid so bad.
Oh my God, I know. And I had Sophie there, and I was like, I got to be really good. Otherwise, I wanted to just go like full snarf and just get into it. Like you and me sitting in a back corner somewhere with like a fourth of that cake, just digging in.
Easily a fourth of that cake.
100%. We could have taken an entire like tier of it because it was like a tiered cake. We could have taken an entire tier and been fine. Well, not
so
fine.
Good.
I mean, we would have died afterwards.
It would have been horrible, but it is what it is.
Exactly. Well, man, I had a great time too. Congratulations again. It was really great getting to hang out with Thomas and Chad. Oh, wait.
Oh. It's a little awkward.
He's old. He forgot about it already.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, let's talk about some of the games this weekend. Let's start with like the Thursday night from this past week with the Colts and the Pats. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Definitely got the chance to see, one of the highlights, which is Josh Gordon catching that touchdown pass. But, it was a good game. I mean, I think the Colts played a little bit better than I expected, but the Patriots are they're on a different level, man. I mean, just when you think they're going to have a horrible season or something's going to go wrong, Bill Belichick reminds you he's the GOAT. Tom Brady reminds you he's the GOAT.
Sure.
So, what'd you think?
I think that I was really impressed with the Colts and down on the Patriots, and I'll tell you why. The Colts were missing their top two cornerbacks, their top offensive linemen, both of their tackles, by the way, their number one wide receiver. They were missing their number one running back, and they were missing a linebacker as well. Like, they had injuries all over the field. They did not even dress Darius Leonard, their star rookie linebacker. He didn't even get dressed because they did not have. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And they still were able to hang that many on that Patriots defense because Andrew Luck.
So you can it for the Falcons and Steelers? You're like, oh, they didn't have this person and this person and this person.
Oh, no. The Falcons just suck. Like, no, I'm perfectly okay with like admitting to the Falcons just suck.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
no. This was Andrew Luck. This was Andrew Luck being like, I think he's good. Like, he's been really good, I feel like, this season. He's developed more, not developed, but like he's gradually gotten better. And I think with the pieces that were missing in that game, he was able to show the Patriots defense and the issues that they have.
I'll say this. His arm looked stronger. It looked healthy. Their offensive line still has a number of issues, but he was pushing the field and stretching the field. And for a moment, I didn't tell you this at the time, but for the moment, I almost said, "Wow, he's back," but then I didn't, and I'm really glad I didn't because I didn't want to admit that to myself. Because it's kind of like when you go to AA with your friend. Like for a friend, and you go to
Sure.
AA, and they say like you first thing you have to do is you have to admit it, or your friend has to admit it,
Right.
and then they admit it, and then they get better. I'm not gonna be that guy. I'm not admitting shit.
You're stubborn.
Andrew Luck is not here. He's gonna get hurt. He's gonna break his arm. I said it. Is that okay?
That you
I hope he stretches his pinky toe. I hope he gets a pinky strain.
You just keep it up with that hope there, buddy. And while he continues to be the nicest quarterback of all time. Yeah, I mean, you already mentioned it. We'll move on to the Steelers-Falcons game. Like, the Falcons are just garbage. Like, I don't know what was going on in that game. I did watch it. Julio had 4 targets throughout the first half. He didn't actually have a catch until the fourth. In that situation, like, I get the whole not wanting to try to feed Julio Jones, but he had the best match. Like, he had 9 targets, but he only had 5 receptions. First one wasn't until the fourth quarter. Like, considering how bad that Steelers secondary is, you get him open. Like, no matter what, he's going to be open. Matt Ryan's not looking for him, and the reason is because our offensive line sucked dick. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but like,
Tell me this: at what point are we going to start? Are we going to start putting a little bit of the touchdown drought on Julio and or on more of Sarkisian? Because I feel like Julio's gotten a pass, for a number of reasons. And that was one thing with Andre Johnson and even Calvin Johnson later on in their career. Andre Johnson, I don't think he ever eclipsed 10 touchdown or 10 or 12 touchdowns in a season. I don't know if he ever hit double digits. And then Calvin Johnson later on in his career, for whatever reason, he couldn't get into the end zone. And I feel like that was something that was being brought up about Antonio Brown. And then he went off this week and had a great game. But Julio he's been a yardage guy, but he just cannot find the end zone. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's kind of irritating.
I put a bit of it on Sark, but I also put it on Matt Ryan as well. Like, he's been, I feel like, afraid to throw it to Julio. Like, give him a chance to go up and get it. He's been afraid, I feel like, for most of the season. Like, if you watch that game last weekend, he had Austin Hooper wide ass open in the end zone. And then it was like the second to last play of the game when they could have won. It was the last week or the week before. I don't remember which one. Austin Hooper, wide ass open. Matt Ryan was so afraid that a defensive lineman was going to hit the ball and have a chance at it that he overthrew him by like 3 fucking yards, like way over his head. And it was just, I feel like Matt Ryan needs to buckle down and play better. Yes, our offensive line is getting killed right now because we started the season without Andy Levitre, but that's like part of the fucking game, is the whole next man up concept. And I know this. I know that I don't like the play calling that's happening. I don't like what I'm seeing from the Falcons. We look down. We look sad. We really do. Like, for a team with this much talent, no matter if you've lost Deion Jones, Keanu Neal, all of them, you can't. And okay, and a big part of this game, though, was, do you know who was covering Antonio Brown for most of the game? Isaiah Oliver, the rookie. Like, that's awful for him. You know what I mean?
That's brutal. That's a welcome to the NFL.
Yeah, exactly. And that just, I don't know, man. I felt bad for him, honestly, just because he was getting picked on, which is going to happen. Welcome to the NFL. Like, you just.
What about Austin Hooper? I mean, this was a pretty good game for him. I think he had 8 catches, 12 targets. I mean, he's really coming into being kind of a featured person, whether it's out of necessity because they're having to throw so much, or because maybe Matt Ryan is starting to lean on him a little bit more because he doesn't have as much time, to throw the ball. But Hooper is flashing the skills that we kind of saw his rookie year. He had a little bit of a down year last year, but you know what? From a wide receiver's perspective, he's a 3rd-year wide receiver, and he's got pretty good numbers right now. I mean, that's kind of encouraging.
No, I mean, I've been saying it. I thought Austin Hooper was going to come out and be a big part of it last year. We obviously saw Sarkisian had no idea what he was doing. Probably still doesn't really. But it's good to see him get involved in this offense for sure. Devontae Freeman, 8 carries for 32 yards. Like, I didn't see anything. He had a 20. And the best part, like, his long carry was 20 yards. So 7 rushing attempts, and he had 8 yards. Ouch. That's
nice.
That's not good. That's very bad. When Matt Schaub comes into play the last part of the game, it's bad. Yeah, I don't know, man. I honestly think that if I'm Thomas Dimitroff, I think I actually do walk into Flowery Branch Tuesday morning, because they're probably off on Monday, and I put like every coordinator on notice, every coach. I'm going to Dan Quinn. He's on notice. Sarkisian's on notice. Mark Emanuel's on notice. All of them. And I'm like, you guys got to get your shit together. I don't care who is out. Like, you have to get some stops. You know what I mean? Like, this defense needs to do something. And then the offense can't, like, they can't. I don't expect them to score 30-plus points every game. They have to, it seems. But, like, they should have in this game. This game was just really disappointing.
Yeah, and the Steelers are not a good team this year. And for them to show up and basically dismantle the Falcons definitely tells me it's going to be a long season for the Falcons.
100%.
So another team I want to talk about. We kind of, you and I are on polarizing terms right now for fantasy football. I'm having an amazing season, albeit 5 weeks into the year. You're having a shitty season, again, 5 weeks into the year. I'm kind of having to, talk you off of the ledge and tell you, hey, there's still a lot of season left to be played, and you had a pretty good week this week in terms of fantasy. But for me, I think I have Patrick Mahomes on 4 out of 5 of my teams this year. And in one of my leagues, I ended up sitting him, and he ended up doing pretty well in that league because it's more of a yardage league. And then in another league, I played him. There wasn't really any other option. And he didn't necessarily go off and throw 6 touchdowns and win me the game this week. But I think it's interesting that Mahomes has kind of elevated the entire team. I don't think the Chiefs defense is as good as they played this week against Jacksonville. And I sat Mahomes expecting him to kind of show up like a rookie. Now, did he throw for 3 touchdowns? No. He had 1 rushing touchdown and 1 interception. But was it 2? Did he end up throwing another one? Okay, so two. And that's it. But listen, man, end of the day, Jacksonville cannot score, and the Chiefs basically held them to 14 points, which is huge. That's like scoring 30 for any other team.
Which they were like garbage time points.
Yeah, and so
it's the Jags from 2 years ago. That's the Jaguars team we just saw. Yeah.
So what did you think, man? I mean, I'm still in awe. I don't see how at this point right now you cannot, you can give the MVP to anybody else but Mahomes. He's still playing lights out. They're undefeated. He's going to lose a game. He's going to have some rough games, but they're finding ways to win. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. My thought was, I feel like Blake Bortles won the Chiefs that game. I feel like that Jaguars defense was put in some really awful positions in that game. The Jags got behind off of a pick six, turnovers, interceptions, especially against a Chiefs defense that hasn't been great this year at all. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like Mahomes kind of got off easy a little bit in that game.
Right.
Just from, like, having the advantage at all times, essentially. Just from, his offense being put in good positions because they weren't putting themselves in that good position. The Jaguars' offense was. Like, I feel like if the Jaguars' offense looked anything like they did against the Patriots from a couple weeks ago, I feel like that's a much different game to me.
Right.
But yeah, like I think at the base of it, that's why sure Mahomes had an okay day, and that's fine. He's going to do that. I guess we'll just have to see what he keeps doing. I mean, yeah, I feel like this might be the best rookie season we've ever seen a player have.
If he finishes the year. Did I just jinx him?
Jeez, you're the worst person ever.
Last year, I mean, I had Watson and Wentz, so I mean, it would make sense, I'm having a really good season so far, just like last year, and then my quarterbacks went out, and I was very humbled by the end of the year. So sure. We'll see.
No, I feel okay. I feel a lot better after this week. Mark Ingram's back. I was waiting on that. Joe Mixon's back after he got hurt, and I picked up Kiki Kuti on waivers. So I feel like he's gonna pick. Well, I did it last week before everyone was like, "We gotta wait a week." So he can replace Amari Cooper. Now, I did watch the Raiders game today, right?
Okay.
I don't put that on Amari Cooper.
Oh, here we go. An apologist.
No, one target. Okay. And he was open. Derek Carr sucks. Derek Carr is very inconsistent, and I feel like that really hurts Amari Cooper's value.
What's crazy is Derek Carr and Blake Bortles and, even Mariota, when he came out, these guys were supposed to be quote unquote the next crop coming up, and they just look like dog shit. And they really do. And I'm kind of apprehensive because you look at Watson and Wentz. Wentz looks like the real deal. Watson looks like the real deal if he can stop getting just bulldozed when he's running the ball and just have time to throw it. Which that's another topic.
That's just what happens though when you have a terrible offensive line. You go into an off season and you don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just plug in a third-round pick. It's a good idea.
But I feel like, Carr, Mariota, Bortles, I mean, I don't know how these guys still have jobs outside of the fact that it's pure supply and demand. I mean, there's only so many excuses you can make for these guys, Sure.
Yeah, and I feel like, Bortles will have okay, say you're an NFL coach, right? Do you want the inconsistent guy that's going to have really high highs but low ass lows? Or do you want the consistent guy, the game manager? Which do you want?
Well, duh, you probably want consistency. Right. I mean, that's what every team wants, whether, the guy is an all-star athlete, superstar like Drew Brees or Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, or just Matt Schaub, just a backup. You want him to go in and consistently play well. But
my thing is that all the Jaguars need is just a consistent guy that's not going to lose them games. That's what that team needs. You know what I mean? And they just Blake Bortles refuses to be that guy.
Yeah, Blake Bortles is like, dude, do I have to play the game? Can I just end this thing early and y'all can sit me? I mean, what the heck? That guy is not good.
And he hasn't been good he's just so inconsistent, man. He can't play the fucking game.
So, about Amari Cooper. So you're going to apologize for Amari Cooper. Are you still on the Amari Cooper train, or have you come to the dark?
I'm going to stash him on my bench. I'm gonna put Kiki Cutie at my wide receiver 2 spot just for right now. I'll put Jordan Howard at my flex spot, and I'll interchange as I need to. And then if eventually that Gruden gets that offense humming, then I'll be happy about it. But I don't expect anything. You know what I mean?
No, I don't even think he expects anything. No, I think he's like, I'm in this for 10 years, guys. You're probably not going to make the practice squad next year.
I am here to this, baby.
Yeah,
that's 100% what he's doing. All right, let's move on. What next game do you want to talk about?
Ooh, I mean, I feel like I'd be a homer if I talked about the Cowboys. I think, their glaring mistake is
coaching
they just
sucks dick.
Their coaching is horrible. Their lack of wide receivers, the fact that it's 4th and 1, and you're in overtime. Your defense isn't really stopping, Houston at all, and you have the, number 1 leading rusher in the game, probably a top 10 offensive line, and yet you want to punt the ball. If there's ever a time to go for it and try to win the game, put it on your team, I feel like that was the time. Hopkins is a monster. It's really cool to see Cody. What's his name? Yeah, Kiki. Do you love me?
Nice.
Are you riding? That guy. Not only is he a rookie, but he is his body frame is completely identical to Tyreek Hill. Now he doesn't run a 4.22, but he plays. This is something that you mentioned. He plays faster than he looks. He plays fast on the field. He looks fast, and that team really, they have the quarterback. They have great wide receivers. Kiki stepping up. I think there's the one player that nobody's talking about right now that in the next 4 to 6 weeks is going to be making some noise. You know who that is, right?
Oh, you talk about Foreman?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I know. I'm so excited. I've been calling for Foreman since last year.
Yep. And he had a great season until he tore his Achilles. Lamar Miller is looking very bad. He's kind of banged up. I think Alfred Blue played really well, but I think when Foreman comes back, they're really going to give him an opportunity if he's 100% healthy and that Achilles is healed up to kind of take over that spot. I look at Blue as being kind of like TJ Yeldon in the sense that he's there, he's going to fill his role, but then when, he's not necessarily anywhere near the long-term plan, he's had his kind of opportunity and he's being serviceable. So, but yeah, another heartbreaking loss for the Dallas Cowboys for a defensive line that is as deep and as stacked as they are. They look very promising, but they could not get Watson pressured at all. He was running all over them. They had a few big hits. I think Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch are monsters. Straight monsters. Jalen Smith was playing ridiculously fast. They had 2, I think, 4th down and goal stops, which was very encouraging. But outside of that, they really weren't getting any pressure on Watson that I was seeing, and it showed. And they ended up losing the game. But I think both of our teams are really. We're going to play this season out. We're going to try to limit our losses. But I think you and I are going to have another great NFL draft in 2019 and watch both of our teams probably draft in the top 10. So it's going to be very encouraging.
I'm okay with that, because at least we have something to be excited about.
Yeah. There's always next year. We're just Cubs fans.
Wait, where do we think it'll be this year?
No, it is. It's in Nashville.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's in Nashville. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm totally stoked about going to Nashville.
100%. What other game?
100%. All right. Let's see here. Let me go down the list.
What about the Rams in Seattle? I mean, talk about a thriller.
Yeah, like Russell Wilson, you guys. That's it. And somehow, like, this offense should be driving everyone nuts. Like, any fantasy owner, just drive them absolutely bonkers because Russell Wilson he only completed 13 passes for less than 200 yards, but he had 3 fucking touchdowns. Chris Carson had 116 rushing yards. Mike Davis had 68 on 12 rushes. What? Yeah.
Yeah. They're basically, I think Carroll's plan is, does anybody want to take over this offense? And then, like, somebody steps up and he's like, cool, let's roll with them.
Let's do it. Yeah. You know who didn't get a single carry this game?
Who?
Rashad Penny.
Okay. I'm not ready to give up on him just yet, but I'll say this. It's not looking good, Mr. Penny. You're about to have a penny to your name if you don't frickin' get your shit together, lose about 15 to 20 pounds, and act like you want to be an NFL running back.
Well, apparently,
go take some tap dancing.
Apparently, he's back to fighting shape. Like, he's back to good shape. It's just what's the point of playing him when Chris Carson is running as well as he is, and as is Mike Davis? Both of those guys are running really, really well. And at this point, it looks like a wasted pick. Like, they could have gone offensive lineman. They could have protected Russell Wilson, and they chose not to.
Or drafted Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a number of different ways that they could have gone. Yeah, I don't know if Pete Carroll's necessarily checked out. I don't like that pick at all. Even though I really liked Rashad Penny when he came out, I thought that was super high. Wasn't he like the first or second running back taken?
Yeah, it was way too high. Definite overreach.
In that game, notable losses, Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp.
No, Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp, not Robert Woods.
That's right. Brandon Cooks. Robert Woods ended up going off. But yeah, so 2 of their top wide receivers, well, to be honest, all 3 are doing really well, but 2 of them went out with concussions. All 3 of those wide receivers, even with those injuries, are still on pace for 1,300 yards this season. Isn't that ridiculous?
That's so insane. But the thing to me is just Seattle's offense isn't supposed to be really that good. So the Rams defense just gave up 31 points to them.
Yeah, but that always happens with those top tier offenses, that end up scoring ridiculous amounts. I mean, even the Patriots, when they went 18-0 in the regular or 16-0 in the regular season. They were tested a few times, but their defense really could let off a little bit and had some wiggle room because that offense was just clicking.
Sure.
They definitely escaped this one.
Yeah, 100%.
Very, very close.
Vikings Eagles, like Adam Thielen is just so good, right?
Yeah, and I think going into the season, you and I spoke a number of different times about, is it going to be Thielen? Is it going to be Diggs? Thielen, Diggs? And I think both had borderline injury concerns. I think Diggs was the more prevalent injury concern, but Thielen throughout his career he's elevated his game and taken it to a new level.